I had the idea that it could happen, but I never dreamed it would be this bad.
Teachers hurt on the job in Indiana classrooms, a disturbing reality uncovered by Call 6 Investigates.
Those numbers to me are just so high, and something has to be done because really we shouldn't be having any.
Well, tonight, for the first time, you're hearing directly from teachers who say this problem has reached a breaking point in our schools and your children are at risk.
Call 6 Investigates' Kara Kenny has been tracking this issue for months and joins us with why some say Indiana classrooms are in chaos. We put together a teacher survey narrowing in on a problem that Call 6 Investigates uncovered in November. We've now heard from more than 400 educators in our state talking about this issue. In our survey, we asked if teachers had been injured on the job and if their injury was caused by a student. We also wanted to know if teachers thought about leaving their jobs because of this problem. Many teachers said yes to all of our questions, and it's a problem that's largely remained hidden until now. Now, one teacher is coming forward after getting hurt her first month on the job.
Very excited, very looking forward to having my own classroom, and then it just quickly went downhill.
One of Hannah Mooney's students in her classroom at Elwood Elementary took up most of her time, and Hannah says the second grader was violent.
It was to the point where every few minutes we were dealing with an outburst that resulted in him turning the room upside down.
Hannah says she and other teachers begged administrators for training to deal with the situation. Hannah says that training did not happen. And 2 weeks into her teaching career, that student had a meltdown and was put in a consequence room here at Elwood Elementary School.
And next thing we know, it sounded like a bomb went off. He had broken the door handle off and it hit the metal instead. My ear was on the other side and it went straight into my ear.
Hannah suffered 80% hearing loss in her right ear and now relies on a hearing aid. Everyday activities are now difficult, even things like watching TV or taking a walk.
Describe what it sounds like right now.
It just sounds muffled. Like muffled is my biggest word.
We asked to speak with the Elwood school superintendent and he declined. But records obtained by Call 6 Investigates show Hannah's incident is one of 14 staff injuries involving students at Elwood schools since the 2017-2018 school year. Some injuries Call 6 found include a substitute teacher stabbed with a pencil, a school nurse bitten, a teacher's aide kicked by a student. And Elwood is not alone. Call 6 Investigates filed records requests with 24 school districts in central Indiana for teacher and staff injuries involving students. We counted more than 1,500 incidents and found all kinds of injuries, from teachers being hit in the face, punched, and headbutted. After Call 6 Investigates exposed this issue in November, we couldn't get any employed teachers to talk with us.
So many people are scared to come forward about it because of, blacklisting. There's just the stigma around it.
So we asked this group of retired teachers to weigh in. They have nearly 100 years of combined experience in the classroom.
I've had children that have thrown things at me, and there were a lot of teachers that were injured by students, either by, throwing desks at them or kicking them.
When we asked these retired teachers an important question,
Why do you think this is happening?
their responses
The students do not have consequences.
were nearly the same.
It's unacceptable behavior and there should be consequences for it.
The lack of consequences for behavior.
Janae Hanger, founder of the Positive School Discipline Institute, has a different take.
Why is this happening?
Most classrooms are safe, but there are some classrooms that have very negative learning environments. If a teacher is not safe in the classroom, neither are her students.
Hanger says when schools take harsh, zero-tolerance approaches to student behavior without looking at why a child acts that way, it puts students and staff in harm's way.
We need to start getting to the root cause of behavior and starting to address those root causes of behavior before they escalate into things we can't address.
Teachers we talk with say large class sizes and a lack of school counselors put them at greater risk for injuries. The Positive School Discipline Institute has trained employees from 54 schools.
Man, just that is a big step.
On how to build relationships among teachers, administrators, school police, students, and parents. Hanger says the approach can help prevent situations like the one that Hannah went through.
We need more training, and anytime you lock a kid in a room, you're escalating the situation. You're not calming it down.
Hannah Moody is still struggling to live with hearing loss. She's taking a new direction with her career and is now studying to get her master's in library science.
Are you giving up teaching?
Yes.
What is that like?
Heartbreaking, sad, because that's what I wanted to do. But to go back in the classroom, I don't trust anyone anymore. I don't trust that I'll be supported.
As you can imagine, this was a difficult story for Hannah to share. This was her lifelong dream, to teach, and now she tells me she can no longer imagine being in a classroom again because of what she went through.
And Kara, did Hannah ever get an apology from the student or the family?
She did not get an apology from the student or the family, and many of you have told us on Facebook that it's the parents who are to blame for these injuries. We actually spoke with parents whose children have assaulted teachers, and we found out what they wish you knew.
At first glance, Erica Hahn's son Spencer is a typical teenager goofing off. But this 14-year-old's life has been anything but easy.
He had a stroke in utero, and so 2/3 of the left side of his brain never formed. Because of that, he has autism, seizures, oppositional defiant disorder.
At times, Spencer has been violent, including at school.
He will lash out and act out. So there have been multiple times where he has hit teachers or kicked them or spit at them. He has had issues on the bus with bus drivers, principals, and staff.
What is that like as a mom?
I mean, it's hard because you know your kid's brain is essentially on fire and they are doing the best they can.
She knows what people think. Erica read the comments on our teacher injury investigation.
What did you think when you saw the Facebook comments that constantly said it's about parenting?
I wanted to cry. Like I wanted to comment on every single one and I didn't.
What do you say to people that say you're a bad parent?
I'm the same kind of parent as you are. We just have different things. The system is completely collapsing and the kids are the ones that are suffering and the teachers.
Erica has paid the price. She's had the Department of Child Services investigate her for child neglect. Allegations she says DCS ultimately did not find credible. Erica now works from home. She lost her job because she had to leave work so often to get Spencer. Keeping violent students out is one approach schools take. In Dearborn County, Katrina Bell's 8-year-old son Marquise was arrested and charged with battery after he allegedly punched and kicked a teacher and principals.
He had a meltdown. He does have a behavioral disorder, and at times he melts down.
Katrina snapped this picture of her 8-year-old son eating a jail meal when she arrived at the juvenile facility.
It broke my heart when I went into the intake room to be with him, and he just ran to me and just held on for dear life, and he said, I feel like I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
That was very disturbing to me as a mom, He's 8 years old.
His mom says locking kids up and charging them with crimes is not the answer to preventing teacher injuries.
They really need to have better training, I feel.
Janae Hanger of the Positive School Discipline Institute agrees training for all school staff is the answer.
It's not appropriate to put a kid in a detention center that is that young. There's a trauma when you arrest a child. There's a trauma, they fall behind in school. They become labeled, they're stigmatized.
Hanger says it's the school's responsibility to create a safe environment for teachers and students.
Right now, we have over-relied on school police, and we've under-relied on school counselors and social workers and school psychologists.
The Positive School Discipline Institute is a year-long program that's trained teams from 54 schools, not just teachers, but school resource officers, principals, deans, and other school personnel. It costs time and money, and the state does not require this kind of training for school staff.
So he's going to act out so that people heal out.
Teachers who've gone through this training say they see why it's important to develop relationships with their students so they can work out problems long before things get physical. Like Katie Hamsel, a 4th grade teacher at Matchbook Learning Charter School.
If I see them getting frustrated and mad, I stop and we talk, or I give them space.
Katie says the training was eye-opening.
A lot of schools are just strict discipline and it's not working, so.
She can understand how this type of training can help prevent student outbursts and teacher injuries.
You don't have the background in restorative practices or understanding that the relationship and what the childhood trauma, what they're going through, absolutely I can see where it could be an issue. You just have to be proactive instead of reactive.
Both Erica and Katrina pulled their children out of their schools. Katrina is looking at options, and Spencer now gets bused 3 hours a day to a school that's better able to accommodate Spencer's disability. Erica says our state does not have enough schools and services to help students with special needs.
At the end of the day, we're all just parents, and we're all just trying to do the best for our kid. And there's always a backstory, and I guarantee that the majority of the parents are fighting just as hard as I do to get their kids the services they need. And I guarantee none of the kids are bad kids.
The reality is a lot of these teacher injuries are caused by students with special needs. In fact, one school district told us last school year of all of their staff injuries, 79% involve students with special needs. The Indiana State Teachers Association listed teacher safety as one of its top priorities this legislative session. And one of the solutions to the teacher injury problem was Senate Bill 220. It would require principals to report physical assaults to police. However, this bill failed to get a hearing this session. I'm Call 6 Investigates' Kara Kenny.